Good evening, Purple family. Welcome to another episode of Shades of Purple, a Prince podcast. On tonight's episode, I will be reviewing Prince's 13th studio album, Diamonds and Pearls. So let's get right into it. So Diamonds and Pearls, like I said, it's the 13th full-length studio album by Prince and his new band, The New Power Generation. It was released worldwide in October 1991, 13 months after his previous album, Graffiti Bridge, after being pushed back from the 27th of August to the 10th of September, then the 17th of September, and was his first to be co-credited to a band since Parade in 1986 with The Revolution. And unlike many of Prince's previous albums, Diamonds and Pearls didn't contain any updated tracks from the vault. All of the album's 13 tracks were written and recorded over the course of a year and a half. Diamonds and Pearls and Live for Love were the first tracks recorded for the album in December 1989 at Paisley Park. Walk Don't Walk and Daddy Pop were initially recorded in June 1990 while in London, England for the Nude Tour. Similarly, Money Don't Matter Tonight, Willing and Able, and Strollin' were recorded in August and September of 1990 while in Tokyo, Japan for the Nude Tour. Insatiable was recorded in October 1990 at Larrabee Sound Studios in Hollywood, California, and the remainder of the tracks were all recorded at Paisley Park. Thunder, Cream, Jughead, and Push were recorded in winter 1990, 1991, and Get Off was recorded in May 1991 as the last track added to the album. 4 earlier configurations of the album are known. So the New Power Generation, what their input was. And I'm getting all this from PrinceVault.com, by the way. The album introduced an almost entirely new band. Although an earlier version of the same band toured with him on the Nude Tour, only Levi Searcy Jr. remained from the previous unnamed band, although he switched from primarily playing bass guitar to rhythm guitar. So Levi Searcy was the only holdout from the Love Sexy and Sign of the Times bands, because those bands were never given a name, and Levi Searcy was also in that band, but so he became the only person to switch over to the New Power Generation. Michael Bland, also known as Michael B., played drums on most of the tracks, while many tracks also featured Sonny T on bass guitar and Tommy Barbarella on keyboards, all of whom will remain with Prince for a number of years. Levi Searcy Jr. on rhythm guitar, Rosie Gaines on keyboards and vocals, and a rapping trio of Tony M performing the lead raps, Damon Dixon and Kirk Johnson playing percussion and performing background rap vocals. So when people think of the New Power Generation, this configuration of the New Power Generation is what most people think of. Maite, of course, would be added later to the band as a dancer. But this is the configuration. Michael B on drums, Sonny T on bass, Tommy Barbarella on keyboards, and Rosie on keyboards as well. And Tony M, of course, doing the rapping, and Damon and Kirk doing background vocals and dancing. Because the three of them, Tony M, Kirk, and Damon, they were known as the Game Boys. That's the name they went by, at least during the Nude Tour. And so, of course, they would also continue to be, I would assume they would continue that name on the Diamonds and Pearls tour, but I'm not 100% about that. But Kirk Johnson will remain with Prince for a number of years in different roles, becoming his full-time drummer from 1996 to 2000, and Prince's best man at his wedding to Maite in 1996. So Kirk and Prince were kind of close, and Kirk, of course, was one of the last people that was around Prince during his last days. And a lot of people don't like Kirk for that reason. They feel like, he really knows what happened to Prince and that he's keeping it to himself, or that he may have been involved. But we'll never know. We will never know, unfortunately. But that's for a whole nother podcast episode. So let's move on. So the promotion for Diamonds and Pearls, the album produced 6 commercially released singles, Get Off and Cream, both of which preceded the album's release. Insatiable, Diamonds and Pearls, Money Don't Matter Tonight, and Thunder, available in the UK only. Additionally, Willing and Able was released to radio as a promotional single in the US. Prince toured extensively in Europe, Japan, and Australia to support the album on the Diamonds and Pearls tour, which largely focused on the album. On the charts, the album reached number 3 on the top Billboard 200, and it reached number 1 on the top R&B albums and number 1 in Australia. So it did very, very well. Certifications, Diamonds and Pearls, was a huge commercial success. It went certified platinum in the US, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and France. And so I think it ended up selling like 5 or 6 million copies. So it went like 5 times platinum. And at the time, that was really, really good. So this album is second only to Purple Rain as far as units sold. And you could also, you could basically say that it was the Purple Rain of the 90s. Hopefully people won't get offended with me saying that, but that's basically what it was. And the success of this album was why Prince was able to renegotiate his contract with Warner Brothers and which will of course start that whole feud, but we'll talk about that a little later, because now we're officially in the 90s. And for a lot of you Purple Rain Prince fans, this is the part of the podcast that I think you really need to pay attention to, because a lot of 1980s Prince fans just kind of disregard the 90s and the 2000s especially too. So I'm really looking forward to when we get into the 2000s, but the 90s I think are kind of overlooked because, it was after his peak, and a lot of people don't think that he had hits, but he still had a lot of hits in the 90s. Even when he was going through all that drama with Warner Brothers, he was still cranking out hits. And Diamonds and Pearls was definitely a huge success. And it's one of my personal favorite albums. And it opens a lot in the same vein as Purple Rain with Let's Go Crazy, that with those dramatic organ chords. Thunder, which is the first track on Diamonds and Pearls, opens up in a similar way with the thunder. You actually hear thunder, and then Prince says thunder all through the night, and it's a really religious song. Like I said, like in the same vein as Let's Go Crazy. Let's Go Crazy was also a very religious song, and so is Thunder. He's talking about saving your soul, and Jesus saving your soul tonight, and the importance of that whole thing. Prince, of course, was still, even before he became a Jehovah's Witness. A lot of people want to say that he just became the super religious person after he became a Jehovah's Witness, but that's just not true. And it's evident in his music that he was always very religious. Love Sexy is one of his most religious albums that he put out before he became a JW in 2001. So people look at Rainbow Children and they're just like, oh my God, he's just, super religious. But no, he has been like that. Even going as far back as Purple Rain and Controversy. At the end of the song Controversy, he says the Lord's Prayer. So Prince will always have, religious themes in his music. And Thunder is proof of that. So let's see what else we can learn about Thunder. Additional recordings took place on the 5th of October, 1991, 4 days after the release of Diamonds and Pearls, and the recording of Do You Want to Rock, Sweet Baby, and Allegiance, to turn the song into a suitable ballet for the Joffrey Ballet Company. So there was a ballet company in 1994 that used some of Prince's music, and Prince actually turned the song Thunder into a ballet instrumental. So I think that's really cool. And Thunder is one of those songs that, like I said, it's a great opener. And on the Diamonds and Pearls tour, I know also it was a great way to open the show. So that's Thunder, the first track. The second track is Daddy Pop. Na, 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 na. I don't know. I don't know why I don't know the songs. I just know Pop, Daddy, Daddy Pop. So, and I hear, Rosie Gaines in the back, with the vocals. And this is a song, he's got, some lady, oh, suck it to me. Like, of course, kind of a sexual kind of song. After Thunder, it's like he would always do that. He would always have that dichotomy. He would have a really religious song like Thunder, and then the next song is a really sexy song like Daddy Pop. So let's see what we can learn about Daddy Pop. So while specific recording dates are not known, basic tracking was in June 1990. Okay, we know that. Additional recording took place in late 1990. at Paisley Park Studios. The song is essentially a solo performance by Prince, but was edited together with the ending of a rehearsal performance of Party Man to create the ending. Okay, that's interesting. It also includes a sample drum loop from Aretha Franklin's track Rock Steady from her 1972 album Young, Gifted, and Black. So it has a sample from Aretha Franklin. And there's another song on this album, Willing and Able, that to me sounds like an Aretha Franklin song. Like it sounds as if he almost wrote it for Aretha Franklin, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But Daddy Pop is it's an interesting track. I like it. It's not one that, because there are some songs, not particularly this album, but other songs that you just kind of just skip over. But with Diamonds and Pearls, there's not really a song on here that I skip. Well, let me stop lying. There are like maybe one or two songs, but this song isn't one of them. And I've enjoyed the performances that I've seen of him performing this song. And I'm not exactly sure what Daddy Pop is about, but my husband had a theory, and I think it's kind of funny. Because, of course, him and Michael Jackson were still deep in their rivalry. And it was around this time that Michael was going by the name, King of Pop. And so my husband and I both kind of theorized that Prince wrote this song and My Name is Prince. I think he wrote both of those songs in kind of response to that, saying while Michael Jackson is the king of pop, he gonna be Daddy Pop. So that's just my thinking on it. It's probably not right, but I just thought that it was kind of funny. So the next track is Diamonds and Pearls, my personal favorite song on the album, of course, the title track. So let's see what we can learn about Diamonds and Pearls. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song. And if I'm being honest, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, Rosie Gaines pretty much outsung Prince in this song. Let's just be honest. Especially when she hit that high note toward the end of the song. Like, just take me away. I was done. I was just like, wow. And Diamonds and Pearls is another song that gets me kind of in the feels, because it's one of the first songs that I heard from Prince and I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. We were doing a school play when I was I had to be like first or second grade. And at the end of the play, when we all took a bow, they just started playing this song, Diamonds and Pearls. And I was just like, wow, this is a beautiful song. Or maybe they started playing it, toward the end of the play. I can't remember. But I was just like, wow, this is a really good song. And so Diamonds and Pearls always will have a special place in my heart, because it was the second song that I heard. My first was Bad Dance. Diamonds and Pearls was the second song that I heard from Prince. And like I said, it's just a beautiful song. And let's see, what can we learn about it? Of course, it's always included on all of the very best of Prince, like all the hits album collections. It's always on that one. And it did pretty good. It got to number 3, I think. Number 3 or number 2 on the albums charts. Let's see, what can we learn? Prince recorded a feature for the 4 musicians, all of whom recorded with Prince for many years subsequently. Rosie Gaines had recorded vocals on the Prince-written track I Want You earlier in the month for the Pointer Sisters, but this was produced by Levi Searcy. Sheila E. also played on the song. Okay, I didn't know that. Sheila E. played on Diamonds and Pearls, adding synth drum fills. The track was included as the 6th track on the December 1990 configurations of Diamonds and Pearls, but they eventually moved it up to number 3. So that's Diamonds and Pearls. And Diamonds and Pearls is one, I love the video, and like I said, I just love everything about this song. And it's not a really flashy song. It's actually a very simple song, and it's one of those songs that will just get caught in your head. Like, as soon as you hear it, it just gets caught in your head. And I love the aesthetic of this whole album, the whole idea of diamonds and pearls, and the fact that, of course, he would hire dancers and name one diamond and the other pearl. And I just really like the whole aesthetic of that. It's just beautiful, and the song is beautiful. Rosie Gaines sang her ass off in the song, and it's just an all-around A++ song in my mind. So moving on, Cream, would also be another, that would be like the third song that I heard from Prince. And I actually heard Cream on the radio. And I was wondering, I asked my dad who this was, and he said Prince. And this was still at a time where I didn't really know who Prince was, but I just know that I liked the song. And Cream was a song that I really, really liked, and it would go on to be a number one hit for him. It would be his, I want to say his third or fourth number one hit. Or it might be his fifth one. I'm not sure, but Prince has 5 number one hits, and Cream is one of them. Let's see, what else can we learn about it? A tape photographed in Prince's vault said that it was recorded in December 1990. So they're just saying they're not exactly sure when it was recorded. Okay, what else can we learn? Remixes were made of the track for a single release, which gradually moved further away from the original track and were considered independent enough to warrant their own track names. This would be considered remixes of Cream, but here are given their own entries. Things Have Gotta Change, To the Wire, Get Some Solo, and Do Your Dance. Okay, so it basically got like some unreleased, or maybe some of them are released, remixes and dance mixes and things like this. Prince said that when he was on tour in Musicology, he said that he wrote this song while looking in the mirror. Now, you know, Prince and his stories, I don't know if that's true or not, but I could say that it's probably a possibility, because it's actually a double entendre when you think about it, because he's talking about Cream, you know, the top of the, you know, getting on top, the cream of the crop, you know, but then it's also, you know, it's got a little sexual innuendo in there. So he's doing a double entendre, and it's really kind of smart how he does it. But once again, it can be seen as another kind of sexual song, where Diamonds and Pearls is more of a romantic song. So once again, he's got that dichotomy going on with Cream. So Strollin', which is the next track, to me, when I first heard it, I wasn't crazy about it, because it sounds almost like a commercial, you know, or one of those jingles. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, like a jingle. But after a while, because I did play this album in my car while over a couple of weeks, and I would always come back to Strollin', because I really like the lyrics when he says, like, close the shop, let's take a drive, take a break from 9 to 5. And then he's talking about, let's go, you know, skating around the lake, and let's go get some ice cream and read some dirty magazines. And I just like the whole vibe of the song, where he's basically just saying, hey, let's just chill, you know, let's just take a break from everything and, you know, just take a drive, take a stroll. And I really, really like that, the whole vibe of the song. And it really, really grew on me. Because like I said, at first I wasn't too crazy about it, but I like how he's able to change, you know, from a song like Cream, and kind of just almost like Cream and Strollin' to me almost go together in a way, like they're sister songs in a way to me. And I really, really like it. It's one of my favorites now. So matter of fact, I might go listen to it when I'm done with this episode. It's really one of my favorites. The next track is Willing and Able. And like I said earlier, this track really sounded like a song that maybe Prince tried to give or wanted to give to Aretha Franklin, because his falsetto in the song sounds like Aretha Franklin to me. I don't know if anybody else kind of, you know, catches that, but I do. I mean, and even the lyrics were, you know, because I'm willing and able, ready to, you know, on my table, ready to place my cards. Yeah, I can't remember lyrics when I do my episodes, y'all. I don't know why. But okay, so he says, ready to place my cards on the table. And I'm just like, that is something that, you know, Aretha would say. Like, it really does sound like that. And the one thing that I kind of think ruined the song was Tony M's rap. I kind of think it was really unnecessary. And not to say that, you know, a lot of people talk shit about Tony M and his rapping. And he's got some good raps, I think. But for the most part, it's like, I actually think Prince is a better rapper than him, believe it or not. But but this one was kind of unnecessary. And I don't really specifically remember his rap. I know it was at the end of the song, but I wasn't a fan of it. So let's see what the Prince Vault is talking about with this song. Let's see. Levi Searcy added a bass line, and Prince began to add guitar chords. Additionally, recording took place in December 1990 at Paisley Park. It was included as the 5th track. Yeah, we know that. Let's see. The drum intro for the track was also used as the musical background for the track Joyful Sound. And when that track was added to a spring 1991 configuration of the album, the intro was removed from Willing and Able, which was included as the 7th track. Okay, so they had a drum intro for the track that they used for something for another track, and then they took it out, and I don't know what they did with it, but okay. I mean, it's really interesting. When you go to the Prince Vault and you look at how these different songs were created, you can kind of see, like, you know, Prince just really kind of experimenting with his sound and how it evolves, you know, from track to track. It said the song evolved from a jam session in which Michael B. began playing a drum pattern from an unknown song by British band Rockpile. Okay, so that's interesting. So it just started from a jam session. And a lot of Prince's songs actually start from jam sessions. So Willing and Able was one of those songs. So that's good to know. So the next track is probably another notorious song, Get Off, 23 Positions in a One Night Stand. So before I get into looking into what the Prince Vault has to say about Get Off, I will say that according to Robin Power, which if y'all don't know who Robin Power is, she was a Prince girlfriend slash protege in the early 1990s during the Graffiti Bridge era. She was actually in the movie, and she played Morris Day's girlfriend. So, but she also dated Prince for a while. And so she theorizes that Get Off was actually about their relationship, because they had a very highly sexual relationship from what she has said on both Prince.org and in interviews. And she said that, you know, her and Prince would have threesomes. And when I hear 23 positions in a one night stand, I automatically think it's got to be some kind of orgy or threesome, because ain't no way two people going to be doing 23 positions. You know, like, I mean, it's possible, but I'm just thinking it's got to be some more people involved in that. That's all I'm saying. So let's get to see what the Prince Vault has to say about Get Off. Let's see. The song borrows slightly from the Get Off release in 1990 on the New Power Generation maxi single, and was developed with portions of a song called Glam Slam 91. So Glam Slam 91 was kind of a remix to the original Glam Slam, and it has more like hip hop in it. I don't really care for it. I really like the folksy original Glam Slam from Love Sexy. But so they kind of took some concepts from Glam Slam and included them into Get Off. And I actually like Get Off. I like the now, of course, Get Off is the song that he did the notorious Ass Out Yellow Suit on MTV of I think it was Music Awards, Video Music Awards in 1991. Now, for those in the know, now we know that was not actually Prince's ass. It was actually flesh-colored paneling, flesh-colored fabric. So it wasn't his actual ass that was out. But I think that is probably Prince's, like, in the 90s, that's probably his most well-known costume, you could say. Kind of like how the purple trench coat was in the 80s. So when people think of Prince in the 90s, they think of that ass out suit. And so he was singing Get Off. That was the song that he was singing for that particular performance. And I've talked about the performance in other episodes, and I just want to say again that I just think Prince was just like, just kiss my ass. You know, like, he was just, you know, trying to be shocking and wanted to do something shocking, and that's what he chose to do. And a lot of people, you know, want to say, well, that's just showing that he's gay, but I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. And but everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I just thought that it was kind of funny. But it was not his actual ass. I just want to emphasize that again for those that, you know, are out here thinking that he just had his ass out. That was not his ass. It was flesh colored fabric made to look like an ass. But the video, which was recorded by Randy St. Nicholas, who was a video photographer for Prince for many years. She directed the video, and this was the first video that she directed at Prince's request. And it basically takes place like in it looks like a brothel, but the inspiration was from the 1979 movie Caligula. And Caligula it was banned in the US for a couple of years. I don't know if it still is, but it's a it's like pretty much like a porn. Like it's like pretty much a pornographic movie. Because Caligula was this Roman emperor who was very debauched, had sex with his sisters supposedly, and was basically just fucking everybody. He's just one of those. I mean, just fucking like his senators' wives, and just doing whatever he wanted. And eventually, he was assassinated by his own bodyguards, the Praetorian Guard. But that's what it was based on, like this whole Caligula. I'm pretty sure that Prince must have saw the movie and I guess took inspiration. And, just like Caligula, Prince was, like, let's set it up like everybody's having like this big orgy. So that's what that was about. So that's Get Off. The next song, let's see, is Walk Don't Walk. Now, when I was saying earlier how some songs you kind of skip over, I hate to say this, but Walk Don't Walk is, for me, kind of a skip song. It's cool, but it sounds kind of, I don't know, it's different, but it's just kind of not my thing. But maybe I should start listening to it more, and maybe I can, get into it. But when I was listening to Diamonds and Pearls in my car, Walk Don't Walk, skip. If I'm just being honest. Let's see. Walk Don't Walk, it says, was included as the B-side on a planned single for Blue Light. Now, Blue Light is my shit. That's on Love Symbol. I can't wait till we get to review that album, because as much as I love Diamonds and Pearls, I think I actually like the Love Symbol album a little more, because I like more of the songs that are on that album. But Walk Don't Walk, let's see, it's kind of a poppy song, dun, 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 dun. So it's got like a nice little beat to it, but it's just one of those songs that you're just like, yeah, it's cool, but it's just kind of not my thing. So I don't know what else to say about it, but that. So the next song I like a little bit more than Walk Don't Walk, but not much more. Jughead is the next track, and Jughead was basically Prince talking about Steve Fargnoli, which is Prince's former manager. And actually Fargnoli would try to sue Prince for this song, for defamation and breach of contract for about $5 million. And I don't know what became of that, but I think they settled out of court, I believe. But Jughead was basically, Tony M rapping about the ills of the music industry, and the fact that, artists, don't get paid for what they're worth. And and that's still true today. So, I mean, he was dropping gems in it, but it just I wasn't crazy about the title, but it says here that he took the title likely as a reference to the distinctive looking Archie comics character Jughead. So I'm kind of familiar with the Archie comics. I didn't really read them, but basically that's where the inspiration comes from. Jughead was based on the Jughead character from the comics. Let's see. The 1991 track Last Dance uses some of the same basic tracks and elements as Jughead, although it is distinct enough to be considered its own track, just as Violet the Organ Grinder was off of Get Off. So Violet the Organ Grinder is the B-side to Get Off. I'm Violet the Organ Grinder. For those who don't know, that's a B-side, and the A-side is Get Off. So let's see what else. So basic tracking took place September 11th, 1990. The flow, during the same sessions, Fancy Dancer, The Flow, and a reworked version of Something Funky, This House Comes, within hours of returning to the U.S. from the Nude Tour. So Kirk Johnson and Tony M share co-writing credit, as the track includes a rap from a song initially known as Money Matters by the group Split Level, which featured Tony M, Kirk Johnson, and Damon Dixon. In December 1989, however, it was performed by them using the band name MPLS in a KMOJ holiday show as Jughead. The track was not included in the December 1990 configuration of Diamonds and Pearls, but was included as the 9th track for the album that would come out for the public. So it went through a couple of variations, and it looks like Tony M and the gang kind of played with the track for a little bit. And it's just one of those tracks that I was like, yeah, okay, Prince, yeah, sure. So moving on, Money Don't Matter Tonight is probably low-key another one of my favorites. It's a jammer, and he's talking about some real stuff. It's in the same vein as like Cinnamon Girl and Mr. Man. It's kind of one of those political songs, like he would do like Running Talk to Russia and Annie Christian, kind of in that same vein. He's talking about the war that was going on at the time, which was the war in the Gulf in 1991. And with the video, as soon as the video comes on, you see a tank and all these, missiles being shot. And he's just talking about, just money doesn't matter tonight when you're in a war zone. These people over there, these children that are having to suffer, because these politicians have decided that they have to go in and, just kind of really protect their own interests. And I still think that's what the Gulf War was about. President George H.W. Bush went over to Kuwait to protect it from Saddam Hussein, who had invaded Kuwait. But really, we were going in there to protect our oil interests. That's just my thinking. But who am I? I was like, what, 8 years old when the Gulf War happened. So who am I to really, say what it was about? But if anybody was to ask me, that's what I would say it was about. But Money Don't Matter Tonight, like I said, it's one of those spoken tracks like Sign of the Times, and it's just really, really, really good. I like the video that they had about the family and the guy, that's, having a hard time finding a job, and he's just kind of taking it out on his family and not knowing, because, he got laid off. It's just one of those, those truth to power telling songs. So I really like it, and it's one of the songs that I always come back to and listen to. The next song, Push, I Push. That's all I remember hearing Tony M say, I push. It's a rap track. We've got Prince rapping, we've got Rosie rapping, we've got, of course, Tony M rapping. And this was, I think, Prince's push into the hip-hop genre. And, he's kind of got some hits and misses with rap. A lot of people were just like, Prince and rap did not ever mix, did not ever get along. And I'll say, he has some low points with it, and he had some better points with it. But Push is, one of those, that's the only thing I really remember is, Tony M just saying, I push the whole time. And it says Push references many of the album's songs in the order they appear during a rap segment of the song, a technique Prince has repeated on other songs such as New Power Soul and Old School Company, Thunder, Daddy Pop, Diamonds and Pearls, Cream, Strollin', Willing and Able are mentioned. As in other cases where this technique has been used by Prince, the rap highlights changes that the album's track list went through. Horny Pony instead of Get Off is mentioned immediately following Willing and Able, since that track was placed there at the time Push was recorded. These rap lyrics from Push are included on the back cover of Diamonds and Pearls album packaging with Get Off written over Horny Pony. So Push actually references the other songs that preceded it on the album. I guess I didn't realize that. Okay, so I learned. That's why I love visiting the Prince Vault and looking at how these songs were created, because you always learn something new. And so now that makes me want to go back and listen to the song again and see how it kind of refers to all the other songs on the album. And so that's interesting. That's really, really interesting. So that's I Push. So the next track, the 12th track, Insatiable, is, I guess you could say, Prince's 1990 version of Do Me Baby, because he has that crazy scream at the end, up and down, just like a seesaw, back and forth. Now, Insatiable is a baby making song from start to finish, and you can't tell me no different. Do you hear me? And I really, really like it. It's one of my favorite slow jams of Prince's, and nobody to me does slow jams quite like Prince. And this is one of those ballads that really proves that. So what can we learn about it? Insatiable was planned for inclusion on the When Two Are in Love, the ballads of Prince. And I really wish that would have came out. Maybe that's something the Prince Estate can try to push or try to put out, because I was so by that. I would buy, and I actually have, my husband made me a mixtape of Prince's ballads, and I actually might need to go back and play that. But now he's bought me some other Prince albums, so now I got to play those. But Insatiable is one of those baby making songs that I always go back to. Anytime, I want to hear something kind of slower from Prince. And it also puts me in the mindset of Scandalous, which was on the Batman soundtrack. Like, I think those two are like sister songs in the way that they're so sexual and just freaky, and I just love it. I love the imagery. I like the video, and I think he was probably dating that girl at the time. I mean, Prince had we're going to get into it about his love life in the 90s, but I got to find out who that girl's name was, because I'm pretty sure that he was dating her as well at some point. But and I like the setup of the video with, the pearls hanging down. And I mean, it's just, goes right along into the Diamonds and Pearls aesthetic that he had going on. And I just really love the song. It's just one of those songs that is, when you think of Prince and you think of slow jams, Insatiable's got to be in the conversation, just in the story. That's just what it is. So finally, the last track, Live for Love. Now, I do like this song, but between Insatiable and Live for Love, I'm probably going to play Insatiable more than this song. And Live for Love it's a good song though. And it involved the whole band from what it sounded like. So let's see what we can learn about it. The track's robotic countdown introduction comes from a sound library set by Sound Ideas. Okay. And was first used in the unreleased 1988 track We Got the Power. And the computer keystroke noises, computer confirmation beep, as well as the vault door sample heard throughout the Gold Experience also come from this series. So all of the little sounds that you hear in the song come from something called Sound Ideas, which I don't know. I guess that was on the keyboard, maybe. I guess I'm not understanding, but that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else can we learn? In 1993, the track was included as the B-side for The Morning Papers. Oh, okay. The fifth and final single from Prince's 14th studio album, The Love Symbol. So it actually became a B-side for The Morning Papers, which is another wonderful song on the Love Symbol album. Y'all, I cannot wait to review the Love Symbol album. Let's see. Tracking took place in the last week of December 1989 at Paisley Park. In 2001, a 1992 live version was released as a video and an audio download as part of the MPG Music Club edition number 10. Okay, so in 2001, during the heyday of the MPG Music Club, they released a live version of the song. So let's see. So it was initially the 10th song, but it was moved back to the 13th during the final configuration. The track features Michael B. on drums, who had just joined Prince's band rehearsing for the Nude Tour, as well as Sonny T on bass guitar, whom Prince had recruited to play for Flash, a backing band for Margie Cox. This is believed to be the earliest Prince-related recording to feature Tony M, who contributes a rap. So this was the song that is first to believe to be the first song that Tony M did a rap in. Okay, that's good to know. So Live for Love was the final track on the album. And so now I'm just going to end it and talk about my general feelings of the album. Once again, I really do feel like this was one of his best albums. If not, I would say I would put it behind the Love Symbol album, but it's definitely in the top 3 albums of the 90s for Prince. And it really did help him to in his negotiations with Warner Brothers initially it did anyway, because it was so successful. But unfortunately, Prince will not be able to duplicate that success, and that was kind of what the contract that he signed was kind of set up to do. And typically, you don't outdo yourself, and I mean, and that's the case of not just Prince, but other artists that were his contemporaries, like Michael. Michael never outdid Thriller, and Prince never really outdid Purple Rain, though he, made a concerted effort to do that, I think, with this album, but he didn't. He only sold half of what he did for Purple Rain. And typically, I mean, that's just what it is. You'll have one of those standout albums, and then all of the rest of your albums will just do, just okay. And that's really just typical for most artists. And for Prince, though, he was such a prolific artist, and that, okay, Diamonds and Pearls, he's did the tour, he's kind of over it. Now he's already on Love Symbol. And by the time people listen to Love Symbol, he's already on to, something else. So he was just always at least 1 or 2 albums ahead of the public. And that's really, I think, where the heart of the matter was for Warner Brothers, is he was putting out so much material to the point where Warner Brothers was like, we don't have time to promote this because now you're on to something else. Because just like the morning papers, he wanted to put out an album in the morning and then put out another album in the evening, not caring that that's not really feasible, And so I think that's really where, I mean, also, of course, they wouldn't allow him to get his masters and to own his work. That was, the bulk of it as well. But on the onset of the dispute was the fact that he wasn't allowed to own his work, and that they were controlling how much content that he could put out, and he didn't like that. But we're going to have a whole episode talking about the dispute, kind of breaking it down, some of the points of contention, and how it started, how it, played out, and the conclusion of it at some point. But anyway, so that is my review of Diamonds and Pearls. So I hope you loved it. Up next, I've got some more top 10 countdowns coming up. Top 10 Prince workout songs. My husband also gave me another idea. Still got top 10 unreleased, my favorite unreleased songs coming up. I've got that Vanity episode coming up. So I've got some things in the works. And so if y'all have something that y'all want me to talk about, as always, just please let me know. Hopefully I also got some more interviews coming. So excuse me. So we'll see how that goes. So until then, peace and be wild, and may you live to see the dawn. Bye.